Good evening, everyone. I hope all of you can hear me. Please give me a thumbs up if you can hear me, please. Great. Great. Thank you so much for everybody who's here on this, weekend when there's IPL going on. It's really great to have all of you on one of my interesting topics. So I recognize a couple of you. I think uh, Nishiganda, I think I saw you already on a couple of other treks, brief calls, right? But anyways, yeah. So yeah, let's get to our uh, brief today. So hi everybody, welcome to the Kang Yatse II Expedition webinar. This webinar will give you the overall view of what is the climb going to be like, and the difference of a trek and a climb, first of all, and then what is the climb going to be like. Post which you'll have certain topics which we're going to cover. Asha, if you can share the next slide, I think they'll get it better. So, in the interest of time, today we have certain topics which we're going to cover, so that you'll understand in from the beginning until the end. We have what is the difference between a hike, trek, and a climb, and what are the famous 6,000-meter peaks in India in climbing, in mountaineering climbing. Trekking is different, but climbing is different. And when you come to climbing, what is it going to be like in a layman term? And why is Kangetse going to be the perfect climb? In fact, I would personally watch it. In fact, all the mountaineers of India will watch that now Kangetse 2 is a very good climb for people to consider if at all you're going to do mountaineering in your life. And our journey and how did we take people on Kangetse 2, and a short synopsis on how we will organize it on the ground, and rest all the things you can see there, gear, the budget and season, and then all the, we'll have question and answer in the end of the call, post or webinar in itself. So request everybody to have patience. We'll complete this entire webinar by around 45 minutes to 50 minutes. So yeah, pretty much that. Thank you. So we will start with this thing. Why 6,000 meter and what is 6,000 meter? Uh, Arsha, please. Okay, so everybody whom I know personally, so I will introduce myself before I can go ahead and do the entire webinar in itself. Hi everyone, my name is Hemant. I am the head of operations for TrekNomads. So just to introduce myself, I was a trekker with TrekNomads first in around 2019-20 when I did their Kedarkanta trek. Sorry, so and it was a 9 to 5 job which I had back then, and then I had to compare an Excel sheet, very simple inclusions, exclusions, and all those things. I was an Excel guy myself, so I felt TrekNomads was offering a lot of extra things which are needed to do a trek compared to other operators who are offering me a cheap trek. So that way I felt, I think I can go with TrekNomads. Let me give a try, and that is how I did my first Himalayan trek with them. Before that, I've been to Himalayan hikes. I've been to Kashmir to Kanyakumari, or sorry, Kanyakumari to Kashmir bike rides. I've traveled extensively. Southeast Asia. I've traveled Gulf and all these places extensively. But then I've never been to our own backyard, which is Himalayas, in a adventurous mode, which is basically trekking and mountaineering, which I wanted to do eventually in my life. But then the first trek when I did, I chose TrekNomads as a customer myself, and I felt really really great about how it went. And then I even seen the differences on the ground, not just with me, with other companies who came with me. So that is when I thought, I started liking with whatever they are, and that is how, cut to 6 7 years, I'm here. I joined as a consultant for sales, after which I joined as a consultant for complete operations and sales, and South India operations, post which North India, and then I'm doing the entire operations for TrekNomads right now, and recently been promoted as a director also. And coming down to myself, with regards to my professional experience, I have been to, I think, 40 plus treks. Yes, Himachal, Uttarakhand, Kashmir, West Bengal, and Sikkim. These are the states I've covered with a lot of trekking routes in the Indian Himalayas and Nepal Himalayas. I think I've did the Everest route, the Annapurna route, and there's this remote areas like Gosaikunda, Langtang, and all those places. Apart from that, I myself am trying to be a small time mountaineer, where I'm trying to climb seven summits, which is basically as of now I've climbed two other summits, the highest peak of Europe and highest peak of Africa. Sorry, that's a long intro, but then just to know your host, this is me, Hemant, and I'll be presenting you with regards to Kang Yatse II today. So, coming on to why Kang Yatse II and what is Kang Yatse II actually? Even before we understand Kang Yatse, there is hike. What does hike mean? Entire days of activity where you, uh, like, I mean, the objective of hike probably everybody has different objectives. I would like to go spend myself in solitude without having anybody, around me, feeling the true, silence of nature, being there for myself, reflecting myself, being completely calm. Right. So everybody will have their own objectives, but then hike is an activity where you go spend your time in a nature or a forested trail for the entire day for yourself and then come back. That'll be a 1 day activity or probably a 2 day activity. Trek is something which you do for a multi-day, two or and above, probably anywhere in the world where you can travel 10, 12 kilometers per day by walk. So that's going to be called as a trek, where you camp yourself and where you prepare food for yourself. But thanks to modern world where commercial companies like us and everybody else in the world where they're offering you everything for a price, you have a chef for yourself and all you have to do is worry about trekking the entire day, and then you have food served for you on the campsite. That would be a trek. But what is actually a climb is something where even though all these facilities are provided to you, it becomes one notch more, you know difficult, more challenging, more wilder, more raw. So when we go beyond the boundaries of hike and trek, it's all about what do you have for yourself. What can you every single person has to be fit for sure. When I say fit, the challenging trek of all the treks what we offer as of now would be probably Everest Base Camp 3 passes route, and it might also be few of the climbs which are trekkable peaks. But then to give a very good differentiation between a trek and a climb, Base Camp 3 passes is a very difficult climb trek for us. Now that would be, if I rate the difficulty from 0 to 10, so I would rate Everest Base Camp to be 3 passes, or Everest Base Camp in itself to be around 5 6 difficulty out of 10, and 3 passes to be around 7 8 difficulty. And for you to climb a mountain, probably it has to cross 10, so it is not within 10 at all. So it is probably around 10 and then above. Why I say that? You are leaving all the comforts and all the reasons which you can give for a trek with regards to your comforts or difficulty or whatever it is. So over here, there's no chance of error which you can give. There's no chance of, you could not say I didn't have a sleep. I didn't sleep well. That's the reason I couldn't trek today. I didn't get good food. That's why I couldn't do XYZ things. I couldn't I don't know feel right today. So that's why I didn't wear my crampons right. All these things will become life and death. So let's come to the part where we'll enable all of you to understand what it is going to be with regards to a 6,000 meter. In simple sense, in one single minute, 6,000 meters is what all of us will call extreme high altitude, which you can see in front of you. So until 3,000 meters, it is let us say a medium altitude where Himalayas will start. 3,000 to 4,500 or 5,000 meters is where we call it high altitude. From 5,000 to 6,000, we call it around 6,000 meter. That buffer, whatever we call it, is like the buffer between high altitude and the climbs of India. And the moment you cross into the high altitude, we call it extreme high altitude until we find the death zone, where the air becomes thinner, the weather becomes colder, and the surroundings becomes more rugged and raw, and it's like you can't complain on anything because that is Mother Nature. It's in towards truest form. So in short, you have already seen here, oxygen drops roughly to 45 to 50, 45 to 50% below sea level. It means that the air is very thin. Every breath you take is equal to probably you have to take three times breathes in to understand one single breath. So basically, your entire body should get that amount of oxygen what you get for one single breath. But in high altitude or extreme high altitude beyond 6,000 meters, you have to breathe three times, so you don't even feel like breathing at all. So there is endless thirst or of oxygen what you get whenever you breathe in. So you have to get adjusted to the thin air. That is one. And second, it also becomes slightly technical. When I say technical, you can't go in the normal clothing what you wear in the treks, right? So you wear sophisticated gear for yourself, where you have to wear a down jacket for yourself, completely 3 4 layers. On top of that, wear a down, so a down pant probably sometimes. And you also wear multiple layers of your trousers. And then you have a specialized boots. You have specialized spikes, we call it as crampons. Spikes are different, and then crampons are different. So every single step will test you. So that is 6,000 meters for you. So next slide, we would like to understand what are the famous 6,000 meter peaks in India. So I think you will, one second, I'll just, Arsha, please show the next slide where you can see all the famous 6,000 meters of India as of now for people to consider. Yeah, so for people to understand, Kangetse, Stockangri, and Mentokangri, as well as Zozongo, all these four peaks, right? The first slide of the three peaks and the leftmost peak of the bottom slide is all in Leh Ladakh. Why Leh Ladakh? Most of the Himalayas are divided into lower, middle, and greater. Lower Himalayas are in Himachal and spread up to Uttarakhand, and middle Himalayas are from Uttarakhand all the way until Leh Ladakh. Greater Himalayas, which is the third highest range, which is higher than all the Himalayas, are between India and Nepal, which are into Leh Ladakh, few parts in Uttarakhand, and slight parts, very, very few parts in Himachal, and then most of them into Nepal. Out of them, Leh Ladakh is the sweet spot where you see the middle Himalayas, where you see the, all the peaks which are around 6,000, 7,000 meters. So out of them, there's a very big fun fact which a lot of people don't know. Kang Yatse means the horn of a bull as per the Tibetan language, right? So there's Kang Yatse 1 and Kang Yatse 2. If you see both Kang Yatse 1 and 2, you can see over here in this image. In fact, this image shows Kang Yatse 2, which is on the right side, and Kang Yatse 1 on the left side. Both of them look like horns of a bull. So it's basically, uh, Kang is ice and Yatse is a bull. So basically, they call it bull, which is in ice. So these are famous peaks. Very famous one of all these peaks are Stock Kangri. For those of you who don't know, those of you who know, you'll understand what is Stock Kangri like. It is one of those easiest 6,000 meter peaks in the entire world, I would say. And post which you have Minto Kangri, which is a moderate climb. Uh, so please be advised that when I say moderate climb, it is more difficult than a trek, right? So moderate to difficult challenging means it's already challenging trek. So people should be able to do 5 kilometers in 30 minutes, wear 20 kgs on their body, and then still be able to run 5 kilometers in 30 minutes kind of fitness. Those kind of people, this is like a moderate, right? So Menta Kongri is also moderate. Zozongo is probably moderate to difficult. Mount Unam is again one of the trekkable peaks of India. You can simply take your Everest Base Camp gear, and you can simply start trekking. Probably you need crampon and boot, except that nothing extra. Black Peak is a very technical climb in Himachal. Those of you who know Kedar Kanta, you can see Black Peak from Kedar Kanta Peak actually. None of you can see it or recognize this because it's only a small, tiny peak in front of all the big ranges of Garhwal Himalayas, which is the Saragarohini, Nanda Devi, and all these peaks. But Black Peak is a very technical climb. It's very famous, and top of 6,000 meters, you earn that that promotion of looking at clouds below your feet, the entire 90% of the Earth range below your feet. So doing the 6,000 meter is something which very few human beings in the world have done. Probably you have to put a 0 point and probably 5 zeros and put a digit after that to say that I have climbed 6,000 meter. That is how difficult 6,000 meter is. So Kangetse is one of those peaks. which is the non-technical peak of Himalayas. It is very, very renowned. It is a trekking peak. If you have endurance, for people who can do marathons, right? Like let us say you can do 41, 42 point whatever change kilometers of marathon, full marathoners. If you can do that marathon, then Kangetse is something which will test you for the next level. First of all, doing that entire quantity of 42 kilometers of walk, run, crawl, whatever you want to do is difficult. On top of that, climbing with gear is something which is the next level of doing that, right? So it is not at all it's not impossible at all. It is definitely possible, just that you need dedication of 100 to 120 days of your entire life. And doing this will give you a sense of the tick, and a self justification for yourself that yes, you are something in life. And not with regards to just fitness, you'll realize a lot of things. You get maturity over a lot of things. People who show off that I've been to Himalayas, take a photo, that is completely different. But being on top of a 6,000 meter and taking a picture, and or feeling that getting the feeling of I've been to 6,000 meters is completely different. So welcoming you all to try 6,000 meters. Let's enable all of you. Harsha, please please share the next slide. Okay, so that's a small glimpse of TrekNomads expedition to Mount Kangese 2, when all of us were there. Beautiful views. We can actually in fact see the curvature of Earth at a point of time. For those of you who say Earth is flat, or probably the internet which says Earth is flat, you can see the actual curvature of Earth from 6,000 meters. It feels heavenly. And not sure if gods are there, but you really will understand what the god's perspective is from the peak of a 6,000 or 7,000 or 8,000 meter peak. And it looks completely out of the world. So let's give a very clear understanding of what separates a trekking peak from a mountaineering peak. So there's a lot of peaks which are trekking peaks, and the highest of the trekking peaks is basically Kang Yatse II. But then it is also called a semi-technical peak. So there are three different categories of peaks in the world to make it easier for people. You have treks, which you understand right now, where you do a multi-day Himalayan trek. Once you finish them, you come to climbing mountains. So when you come to climbing mountains, there are peaks which you can climb just with your Himalayan gear. And you have to simply wear a crampon and a boot, a mountaineering boot, because the weather goes beyond minus 25 to 30 degrees. And the wind speeds will be higher, faster than, or it'll be like as high as around 70-80 kilometers per hour speed. That's going to be the wind speeds. That is enough for a person who's 70 kgs to get blown away, right? So if you don't get yourself with a rope and everything, right? So these are divided into three different peaks. The climbing routes are divided into three different types. One is a trekkable peak, which requires just your basic gear plus a boot and a crampon to simply climb. Second, a semi-technical climb. When you say a semi-technical climb, it means you require a little bit of technical aspect. What does technical aspect mean? There's something called a jumar. There's something called a carbiner. Carbiner is what mountaineers use as a hoop, a lock with a rope. What they use. Why do we use a rope? Because of the gradient of the mountain. The gradient is very high, around 60 and 70 degree gradient. There's a very good chance of you falling away from the mountain. For you to not fall away from the mountain, we use a crampon. Crampon is a 1.5 to 2 inch steel or MS steel or a stainless steel, foot extension what we use with the mountain boot. First of all, we wear a mountain boot which is very thick and it can sustain minus 30 degrees. With that, we wear a crampon which is another 600 grams apart from the 1.5 kg of the boot. So that means you're wearing around 2.1 kgs of a boot uh, for yourself in each leg. So probably two legs are up to 4 kgs. If you use a very basic boot, the costlier it becomes, the boots become very cheaper. But anyways, that's a different story altogether. But coming back to it, you wear 2 to 4 kgs of boots. You wear around 3 4 kgs of clothes on top of you. Plus, you wear a bag which probably will have food, oxygen cylinders if you're going beyond 7,000 meters. But since we're not doing that right now today, so you'll carry all the essentials. You'll wear a helmet, you'll wear a rope. If you're a last person, you have a safety rope extra with you. You have an ice axe, which will break into blue ice. And also ice axe also are three different types. We'll also get into it when we get to gear. And you also will have you know your nutrition and all those things which will be packed with your bag, because all the summits are usually around evenings, where you start at around 9 o'clock 10 o'clock, and it extends up to 16 hours 20 hours sometimes, based on how fit you are and how quick you are, right? So these are semi-technical climbs. So semi-technical climbs are those which require some kind of understanding of the entire gear for yourself, which you will require with Kang Yatse II. And complete technical peaks, like people who climb beyond death zone, beyond 7,000 meters, are called death zones, or beyond 7,500 meters are nowadays death zones. Actually 8,000 meters, but then 7,000 meters itself is a death zone. So beyond that, oxygen is very very little. People suffocate themselves to do it without oxygen. So you wear an oxygen mask, actual supplemental oxygen, to do the 7,000 and above meters, and those are called death zones. So since we are not covering that, we'll only stick to the 6,000, 6,500 meters, or 7,000, before 7,000 or within 7,000 meters for us to understand today. So a trekkable peak will require absolute fitness for yourself with a lot of endurance, at least the capacity to do a half a marathon and above. That is a trekkable peak. You can trek with your gear, just wear a mountain boot and a crampon and do it. A semi-technical peak requires you to have full marathon capability and the skills to use ice axe, the skills to use a lot of things. Like, let's say, in the cold, you can't perform a lot of things, and your skills should be in such great level that at 6,000 meters, you can't fold your hands, you can't even properly squat and get up. So you should have the skills to squat, put on a carabiner, open the carabiner, remove the rope, or get into a rope, and all those things for you. So this separates yourself from a trekkable peak into a mountaineering peak. Kang Yatse II is that peak which separates that for you, where you understand the concepts of using carabiner, using a belay uh, when it is required. Certain times belay is required in Kang Yatse II. It's not actually required generally, but I have used it because of a very huge crevasse which opens up, and new mountaineering terms which you need to know. And you're actually crossing the threshold of trekking and mountaineering over here. So coming down to the fun facts, I think the points are there over here. Kang Yatse II comes in the entire sanctuary of the Markha Valley. So you acclimatize by trekking through the Markha Valley. There's a very famous route called Markha Valley route, which is there, where you don't have to do Kang Yatse. You go to the base camp of Kang Yatse, you come out. You go closer to the base camp and you come out. That is Markha Valley trek for you. Those of you who can't do Kang Yatse mountain, you can consider going to Markha Valley, get inspiration, and then go out. So you also get acclimatized in Markha Valley. That is one. Second, you are going to it's also an advantage for people who want to do mountaineering for the first time in their life, because you're trekking and you get couple of days for you to understand what mountaineering is going to be, by going by trek all the way to the base camp, and get another couple of days to train yourself for the gear, the terrain, and how difficult it is going to be, the route, the weather, and everything. That is an advantage doing Kang Yatse II. Third, the summit success rate of a Kang Yatse II is very very high compared to other mountains, because it's a trek plus climb, and people who generally go there will be very well educated with regards to gear, fitness first, second gear, and then third the difficulty of the route, and then the kind of route what we're going to take. And third, it's a complete base camp experience. Most of the people would not know. None of you would have visited base camp. I mean, any of you who have not visited base camp will understand that base camp, like for example, Everest base camp trek. You go to the base camp, you come back. Annapurna base camp, you go to the base camp and come back. But Kang Yatse II advantages, you can go to base camp. You understand how the base camp functions. You sleep in the afternoon. You don't sleep in the night in the base camp. Not many people know about it. You have to get used to going to toilet in the complete wilder ice climate. So, and you have to get used to wearing your gear in ice. So that is something which you learn from the base camp. So Kang Yatse II will teach you that without extreme climate, and it also gives you the high altitude. Advantage of doing Kang Yatse II is lot of the peaks in the Himalayas are 5,000 meters. You start from 900 meters. For example, Everest. People who climb Everest have to start at Kathmandu, which is 900 meters only, 700 to 900 meters only, and they have to trek 10 days to reach Everest base camp, which is 5,400 meters approximately. Whereas Kang Yatse, the base itself started at Leh Ladakh, which is 3,500. You stay there for 2 nights. So you acclimatize there even before you think about trekking. Then you trek for 4 days to go to the base. That means within 4 days, you are ready to climb the mountain. That is the shortest amount of time any 6,000-meter mountain can be climbed in the world. For example, you have to do Black Peak, you have to spend 10 days to climb the mountain. Whereas in Kang Yatse, 4 days is 4, 5, 6 days is sufficient for you to right away start climbing the mountain. So these are the advantages of doing Kang Yatse II. Arsha, next slide, please. Okay, so for people who may ask questions like, how do I do Kang Yatse? I want to climb a mountain, but how do I get to Kang Yatse? Or how do I get to 6,000 meters? So people, those of you who have been to already Himalayan treks, for example, let us say 3,000 meters, basically your Kedarkanta, Brahmatal, Harkidun and all these treks, or probably Sandakpu and all these treks. These are all, it may be easy, moderate, difficult as per whatever any trekking company describes. Don't even look at it. So that will be the start of your treks, right? You start with the trek. To give a very simple understanding for people who want to come with TrekNomads, right? So what we offer people, do a Valley of Flowers first, which is giving an introduction of spending a week in the Himalayas in comfort. When I say comfort, you have a bed to sleep on, you have what do you say, good amount of what do you say, time for yourself to trek every single day, around 10 kilometers every single day. You come back for hot dinner. Every morning you have a hot lunch. You have guides who can assist you in trekking and everything. So that is Valley of Flowers for you. And then in case something goes wrong, you're one horse ride away to a hospital. So it is a multi-day. It requires stamina of doing at least 5-10 kilometers of run. So if you have a capacity to run 5 kilometers per day, or if you have the capacity to do 10 kilometers per day of walk, then you can consider Valley of Flowers trek. This is the introduction to the Himalayan treks. Next, slowly we ask people to train themselves, or do little better with regards to their time, right? And then make sure they run at any cost, or if they can't run, do staircases. If they can't do staircases, at least swim or do cycling. We have fitness criteria what we suggest people. If you want, I'm going to put it across over here. So the fitness criteria is very simple. So we want people to do this before they can do Kashmir Great Lakes, a difficult trek, or a moderate to difficult trek, which is a Kashmir Great Lake trek, which is touching the next altitude, which is touching of 4,000 to 4,200 meters. Advantage of Kashmir Great Lakes is that every single day you camp. It is wilder. Toilets are dry. You have to, there's no help with regards to anybody. There's no network. There's no extra support like in Valley of Flowers, where if you don't feel like trekking, you can come out. Kashmir Great Lakes is one single entry and then one single exit. So if you start the trek, you have to exit from another place only. If you can't trek, only choice you have is taking a mule in between, probably for point A to point B, and then after that you have to trek probably, because there will not be mule from point B to point C, right? So it gives you a perspective of being raw in the nature, without network, being sustaining yourself with the minimum amount possible. It is required minimum amount resources required to do a trek. And you get food, you get good sleep, but then you have to trek 10-12 kilometers per day, probably couple of days or 3 days, sorry, 3 days you'll be doing passes. What is passes? Going across a very high altitude and then coming down, and then you trekking completely until the end of the trek. So that is going to be your high altitude trek for you, right? With stamina, with a lot of things, which requires you to understand in raw nature. So that is Kashmir Great Lakes for you. Similar treks for Kashmir Great Lakes would be Goshala, Sarpas, Alandikal, and all these examples. Now, next comes a challenging trek for yourself. Challenging yourself, can I do a trek which is difficult for me, but it is a feather in the cap for me, or a lifetime achievement for me, where you can say Shabas for yourself, or people will recognize you. You did this trek, which is example a base camp trek. The moment you do a base camp trek, which is around 5,000 meters, it might be Everest base camp, it might be Annapurna base camp, it might be any base camps in the world, or it might be a Kilimanjaro climb or something like that, right? Which is around 5,000 and above, right? You are automatically enabling yourself to do the next difficult thing a human being's body can do, which is climb a mountain. Until here, we used to think that we're climbing a mountain, which you are not. You might be climbing technically, and what do you say? Uh, Literally that, yes, I'm climbing a mountain. I'm climbing Valley of Flowers. I'm climbing Kashmir Great Lakes. But these are all most of the human beings can actually do. But beyond this is something where everybody can attempt, but only those who have dedication can do, which is mountaineering. The first summit, what we suggest for people who want to do mountaineering, would be a Kang Yatse II summit. So this is the thin line, or as it says, the crossing. The crossing from you being a trekker into a mountaineer. Mountaineer loading is your Kang Yatse II summit. First time wearing a mountain boot, first time wearing a ice crampon, which is 2 centimeters, 3 centimeters or 2 inches long, and first time wearing a harness set, which you would have probably worn on doing a zip line or fun activities in a resort. What you wear and do for multi-day activity, and then for you to survive on that mountain, and wearing a helmet, a carabiner, and all those things, all the mountaineering gear. So that is Kangese 2 for you. Acha, please, next slide. Acha, I hope you can hear me. Please, next slide. So for people who don't know about how the map of Kangetse is, it's very simple. So you start by landing in Leh, which is approximately 3,500 meters. Over here, it's around feet. It's around 11,600 feet. It's mentioned here, 10,550 feet. So you arrive in Leh and spend 2 nights. So why 2 nights? The first day is the day when you spend on traveling, so you will not get acclimatized yourself. You get adjusted to the altitude, and you just get adjusted to the weather and everything. That is first day for you. Second day is the day when we acclimatize you actually. When we take you to a high altitude in Leh, which is around 4,000 meters, which is 500 meters higher than the Leh's base altitude of the city. We go to we have this famous Shanti Stupa, we have the Gompa, we have the couple of monasteries where you take you to, where we can spend some time in high altitude, and you come back to the low altitude. So what, which is a very important term for people who want to climb mountains, is that use spend time in understanding, or you give your body two options: the worst and the bad. So when I say that, in other terms, I'm giving you an altitude which is very very high, which is around 4,000 meters, or I'm giving an altitude which is around only 3,500 meters. So advantage of doing that is because I'm from Bangalore myself. Let us say I'm here at around 1,000 meters. When I go to Leh for the first day, which is on 3,500 meters, that's really high altitude for me. There's a lot of people in the world who are coming around from sea level. There's people coming from, if I'm not wrong, Vicky Patel is from Mumbai, right? So you might come from zero, zero meters above sea level. Same thing with regards to a lot of people who come from zero level above sea level. So the moment you come to 3,500 meters, you may feel good, you may feel great for a couple of hours, 3 hours and 4 hours, but internally your body is undergoing a small, battle in itself, where it is fighting hard for adjusting to that altitude, adjusting to the temperature, adjusting to the thin air. So what we do the next day is we trick our brain. We tell our brain, obviously you can't, there's this certain things what you can't tell your brain, your entire body to act otherwise. I can tell myself, boss, be calm. I don't have to, get angry, or I don't have to get xyz things, let me be calm, right? But you can't do involuntary things which your body is function, wired up to be. For example, your body is supposed to get, sick when it has some infection. Your body is supposed to get ams when it goes to high altitude. You can't stop that. So you can trick. So what we do in those situations, we trick our body to, let it know that I am not doing it on purpose. I am doing it, sorry, I am not doing it on accident. I am doing it on purpose. So I am coming here by choice. So let me be calm. So I am telling my body, be calm. I am not doing anything out of ordinary. I am choosing to do this. So what do? We go to a high altitude. We are there in high altitude for, half an hour, 1 hour, at around 500 meters above what I'm going to sleep tonight. By that, what will happen? Tomorrow when I go to that altitude, I'm already, familiar with this altitude which I went today. That's one. And second, I'm giving my body two options. Do you want to sleep at 4,000 meters, or do you want to sleep at 3,500 meters? So the body will choose a lesser demon, or the one which is not adverse to me more, which is being in the low altitude. So the moment I leave my home altitude of Bangalore at 1,000 meters, when I go to Leh becomes high altitude for me. But the moment when I go from 3,500 of meters of Leh into 4,000 meters, which is higher than Leh, body will suddenly feel, oh boss, 3,500 was better to me than 4,000 meters. So I acclimatize at 3,500 meters better right now. So we trick our body by going to 4,000 meters, touch that altitude, be there for some time, understand the weather, temperature, climate, everything, right? The, air and everything, and then we come back down to Leh's altitude that night, the second night. By then, you get acclimatized, right? Good hydration, good food, good sleep, three things. And acclimatization hike, going to high altitude and coming down. These three things and going to high altitude and coming down will help you out in getting adjusted to this 3,500 meters, which becomes your base altitude. So body will get adjusted to this as our altitude going forward. It will not remember my home altitude of me being either from Mumbai or Bangalore. So that is what happens on acclimatization hike on day 2. Day 3, we drive from Leh all the way towards a place called Chokdo. But even before we go towards, oh sorry, Chilling, Chokdo is the reverse. I'm really sorry. So we have two routes to do Kang Yatse. The actual route what we take is Chilling. So from Leh we go to Chilling, which is the route which goes towards the Chadar trek route, and we take a small deviation towards Chilling. So there is a place called Sangam where two rivers meet in Leh, just north of Leh. And from there we drive, take a deviation, go towards Chilling, and then from there we go to a place called Skew. Skew also is around the same altitude of Leh, which is around 3,400 meters, which is 100 meters in fact lower than Leh. Right? Another advantage of people who don't know about it. In fact, the road is motorable until Skew, but because of the conservation practices people follow in Leh, they stop us at a place called Chilling. From Chilling, we trek a gentle, very easy trek of around 3-4 hours. So we spend 2.5 hours, 3 hours maximum to go to Chilling, and from there we go towards Skew. Before we go towards Chilling, we have Pattar Sahib, which is a very famous Gurudwara en route, which is known to be giving you good luck for a lot of things. In fact, entire Indian army, naval as well as air force believes this, and then as a civilian we also believe it, and then we visit that place, and then we go to Chilling, and from Chilling we trek until Skew, probably 4, 5, 6 kilometers maximum, and then we're there at Skew by around early afternoon, or let us say around 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. So this is the day where we have two options. Either we can stay in a homestay in Skew, in Sara, just next to Skew village, or we can set up camp stay in Skew. This is the third day of the itinerary and the first day of the trek. Second day would be gradually going up from Skew all the way until Markha. Markha is around only 350 meters higher up in the higher, in the altitude. It's a very gradual climb, around 8, 9, 10 kilometers approximately, around that range. You will love the entire journey. For people who are expecting that, I want to see, what do you say, the lush green Himalayas, snowy Himalayas. No, you will not get that here. You see the actual wilder, rustic, brown, very very raw Himalayas in Leh Ladakh, and you get to go to the heart of this, this entire wilder Himalayas, which is basically Leh Ladakh region, and you get to see those villages which are nomadic, built on stones, people who feed on yak meat, people who drink yak milk, and all these places. But thanks to modern, world and everything, people have moved out of Markha Valley. They've come to Leh right now. But you can see all this old world charm of, Markha Valley. Fun fact: Markha was one of the capitals of Ladakh when it was not even part of, mainland India. So the Namgyal dynasty, which are the Tibetans, which are the part of Tibet of China and then Tibet of India, right? Which is until Leh, right? There's a Gobi Desert in between, and then this entire dynasty was known as Namgyal dynasty at one point of time, and then people used to have Markha as the capital of it, and then you can see still the older Markha villages, which are 300, 400, 500 years, longer. So you arrive at Markha on this particular day, which is the fourth day of the itinerary and the second day of the trek. Gradual climb of 350 meters. And the fifth day, you cross over Markha Valley, you get few staircases, right? So that day evening, before we go to the next day of trek, which is the fifth day, we have a small acclimatization climb to the Markha Monastery, which is there on top of Markha Valley, very famous, where you get last final network of the day. After that, you don't get any network. In fact, don't get network after leaving Leh itself. But today we get intermittent network for some time. You get a Wi-Fi satellite network, which Indian government allows for only for Leh. It's not satellite, but I think it's controlled by satellite, but government kind of controls who uses it and everything. So you get a little bit of network when you go to the monastery in Markha Valley. You visit that and you come back and stay in the campsite. Right? This is Markha for you on day 4 of the itinerary and day 2 of the trek. Day 5 of the itinerary and day 3 of the trek, you will be trekking from Markha Valley and all the way until the wilder part of Ladakh, which is Tochung Stay. The spell over here is, you can understand, it is Tochung Stay. It says fifth day of the itinerary, but it is actually the third day of the trek. 2 days we spend on acclimatization in Leh, so 3 days we trek. It's a very beautiful route, completely again wilder. You gradually go up from 3,750 all the way until 4,300 to 350 meters. So that's approximately, I would say, around 550 meters of climb. It's very gradual again. And this is the day when you sip on good amount of water. You cross a lot of rivers here and there. You cross a couple of river crossings. Thankful for the recent development by the government of India, we don't have any river crossings. We have bridges right now, so you don't have to do any river crossings. So you can simply cross over by the bridge and then get down and can go to the other side of the bank. So you do this multiple times between left to right and right to left when you go towards Tochung Stay. Tochung Stay is a completely wilder. The last village before Tochung Stay is gone, called Omling, or in and around Tochung Stay. Once you cross Tochung Stay, nobody who stays there as villagers. It's all completely wilder, and then you are there Tochung Stay by around I would say 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the night. Approximately again 11, 12 kilometers for you, and then you should reach there by around 3 o'clock in the night, in the afternoon, and you spend the night there in Tochung Stay. And next day again, you can leave Tochung Stay towards the next day. One advantage for people who do Markha Valley, instead of staying in Tochung, you can be there at Hunker. There's a place called Hunker in between here, which it is not shown on the map. It's in between Markha and Tochung Stay, which is a place called Hunker, where there's homestays. People who can stay in homestays can stay in Hunker. People who have campsites, we go to Tochung Stay, right? So this is day 5 of the itinerary. Day 6. This is the day when we actually hit the what we call the high altitude. A lot of people can do Himalayan treks, which are up to 4,000 meters, 4,200, 300 meters. But doing it beyond that will test a person's endurance, his ability to survive with the lowest amount of food, water, and oxygen. Right? So you take good amount of food, you take good amount of water and oxygen. I mean, oxygen is space. Or when I say space, it's air is thinner. So you have good amount of food and water, but you don't feel like eating food. You don't feel like drinking water, and you surviving here will is a testament of how human beings can survive even this altitude. In fact, there are people who are there, few nomads who are there in Tochungste. A small, Maggie shop is there, very very small. Probably one or two Maggie shops are there who have a small restaurant where they do make for order a la carte whenever you need it. So beyond Tochungste is completely wilder. In fact, you get to see all the wild, birds, wild chicks, and you also get to see marmots, mini marmots. Marmots are like squirrels. Not many people know. These are part of, in fact, wildlife of India as well. They look like squirrel, but they're not squirrel. There's a type of mouse actually, and they're as small as probably 2 inches. They're as big as 2 feet, and you get to see a lot of these over there. And then you cross over, you get into the high altitude. There's a very slight deviation which goes towards the Kang Yatse base camp. For people who are not doing Kang Yatse base camp, you have a different route. There's a very famous lake, a small lake which is only there in the summers. In the winters, there's no water because of the ice, and in the summers, because of the water getting dripping, they've made a man-made lake where they've built a one of the incarnations of Buddha, Guru Sambhava. He's a very famous, I think, 13th or 14th Buddha, and he's there. His statue is there. And once you reach that statue, you pray. It's a customary thing where people go there, sit there for some time, have our lunch, and we cross over, and then we go towards the Kang Yatse base camp. People who don't do Kang Yatse base camp, they go towards the left, which goes to Nimaling, which is after Kang Yatse base camp for people who finish the Kang Yatse trek and come down, and then we go towards pass, and then we get out of the entire route. So that is Nimaling. But anyways, we go towards Kang Yatse, which over here shown as Kang Yatse base camp, which is around approximately 5,050 all the way until 5,100 based on where you do the campsite. So this is the day 7, which is shown over here. Again, it takes around 8 to 9 kilometers and takes you approximately 6-7 hours. And trust me, guys, for people who might not know, a Valley of Flowers trek will take you from 3,000 meters in Ghangaria and goes up to 4,160 meters in Hemkund Sahib in 3 hours. It is 6-7 kilometers. Whereas the same 6-7 kilometers, and it is not even comparable to Valley of Flowers at 3,000 to 4,160 meters. It is only 4,300 to 5,100, which is only 600 meters, half of what you do in Valley of Flowers, and it will take 3 times the time. There are people who will take 8 hours, 8.5 hours to just reach the base camp. That's pretty much normal. We in fact appreciate people doing that, because the slower you go in that altitude, the better you get acclimatized. So the saying, very big saying, what many people in treks don't understand, what mountaineers understand: on the mountains, the slower you are, the faster you would reach the base camp, or the faster you reach the next camp. What does it mean? The slower you are, you're the best person actually. So you're acclimatizing as slow as possible. You are getting used to the altitude, the weather, and the thin air as slow as possible. So your body gets adjusted to that. So mountaineering is never a challenge. It's never a sport where I am the first, I am the record holder. It is not like that. Unfortunately, it is what portrayed everywhere. But you'll understand that once you do this base camp treks, where the slowest person will always reach the fast. So you will reach probably faster when you do one step at a time consistently for 6 hours. You'll be there in the base camp. But people who are very quick, they run for 100 meters, they take rest. They run for another 200 meters, they take rest. They are the slowest people. So you understand this on the base camp day when you do in Kang Yatse. In fact, same thing with every other base camp. In fact, so by the time you reach the base camp of Kang Yatse, you can see a mountain which is triangle in shape, and two horns which are there protruding like this. A small, slight small horns. One is the Kang Yatse 2 and one is the Kang Yatse 1. Kang Yatse 1 is a technical mountain. When I say technical mountain, you have to use gear. You have to punch ice into, shoes into the ice, and then stand, freeze, like on a rope but you have to stand on your entire put your entire body weight on your own legs, without any support under your legs, with only just two single hooks which are there in front of your, or crampons. You just punch into the ice and you stand there like that, or you use your ice axe and you punch into the ice and then you stand there with your only arms holding the ice axe. So that is technical. Whereas semi-technical, it is nearly the same gradient, but it is not so. It's not 90 degrees or 80 degrees. It is 60 degrees. You can still stand on a mountain. That is semi-technical for you. So you can see those mountain in a very good fashion from the base camp of Kang Yatse, and you can see that the route and everything, the crevasse. What is a crevasse? What is ice fall? Probably what is glacier? What is a mountain walk? Probably once you understand, once you arrive in Kang Yatse base camp. So once you are there, the next day you go there and rest at Kang Yatse base camp, and the next day you acclimatize by going to the the same evening. In fact, sorry, the same evening when you go on the seventh day, we go to Kang Yatse base camp and we go acclimatize to a high point. Spend some time there in the evening. We take some chai and everything in a flask. We go there, we drink our chai, and we come back. We take water if you don't want to drink chai. We take water. We take spend some 300 400 meters above in high altitude, spend some time, come back and take rest. It's very normal to not get complete sleep in the high altitude. We get used to it because oxygen is lower and you don't have normal heartbeat and everything. So you get to stay in that base camp for some time, and you spend the night trying to get some sleep. So that is your night 7 of the entire itinerary. So the eighth day. So what is eighth day? Eighth day is the day when you will be going to get trained with regards to all the gear. If you have not had any experience with regards to any BMC or any in a mountain courses or being to any mountain, not to worry. We will teach you what is a boot, what is a crampon, what is a carbiner, what is an ice axe, what is a harness, and on top of that, what is a helmet, and what is layering, and how to use all these things on top of a 6,000-meter mountain. All these things are taught to you at the base camp. So this is what we spend on day 8, right? So the entire day is spent on teaching you, the entire half of the day is spent on teaching you how to use your gear for you. What are you going to use when you climb the mountain for you, to get you familiar with the mountaineering gear. And then after you finish that, you immediately get your lunch, finish, and you go sleep. Why we sleep? If the weather is good, today night we are going to climb the mountain. The mountain is very small. When I say small, the distance is very small. You're 5,100 meters, you have to do 6,250 meters. How much is the difference? 1,150 meters of difference. But how long will you do this 1,100 meters, 150 meters of difference? If you're quick, you'll do it in 12 hours up and down. If you're slow, you will do it in 20 hours. So the ball is in your court. How good of a sleep you'll get in the afternoon, how good of a fitness you have, how good of a mental preparation you have in trying to do the base camp to summit and then come back. So you sleep in the afternoon, and then we divide teams. We set up ropes. These are called fixed rope expeditions. So let us say I'm Hemant, we have Harsha, we have Naveen, and then we have Suresh. So out of 4 of us, 2 are slightly slow, 2 are quick. What we do? We make the quick people go probably half an hour ahead of us. We make the slow people, so fast people go half an hour behind. Why? Because what happens is we want all of us to summit together. Because the quick people, what happens? They climb very quick. Probably not very much, but probably marginally. So we send them slightly behind. The people who are slightly slow, we send them probably half an hour or 1 hour later, because they climb fast and we don't want to miss them. On the mountain, what happens is people find very I may be fast, somebody behind me may be slow, somebody ahead of me may be more quicker than me, but then all of us on the same rope, so we are forced to go in one single rope. So more than 4 5 people, we don't put people on the same rope, so we put multiple people on different ropes. So people are very quick, we send them ahead. We will behind. We tell them, boss, you're quick, you come probably after half an hour or 1 hour. People who are slow, we want to take it slow and steady. Again, as I told you, there's no challenge or there's no comparison saying that slower people are weaker, or faster people are stronger. It is not at all like that. On the mountain, as I told you, the slowest is the fastest. So we send the slowest people first. We tell them 9 o'clock, you open the route. We keep a very good Sherpa ahead of them, and then we open the route. People who are little quick, we send them 1 hour later, because anyways route is open right now, that they just march and they go meet the people who are slightly slower. We go together, we summit together. So that is the entire objective. So the day 8, morning is spent on training, afternoon is spent on sleeping, and the second part of the evening, which is basically around 7 o'clock and above, we wake up people, we tell them to get ready and everything. By 9 o'clock, we send the first batch, and then probably by 10 o'clock, we send the second batch. Sometimes, if you feel people are really good, we send everybody by 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, and we attempt climbing that particular night, and we attempt going the 6.5 kilometers of Kang Yatse. And when we start climbing, there's two sections what people have to understand climbing a mountain. Section 1, crampon point. From the trekkable point, you start hitting moraines. What are moraines? Moraines are these places where you see chipped rocks. It is there in all the bottom of the mountains. Everest, it is there. Any 6,000 meter, from 6,000 meter mountain or even 5,000 meter mountain, all the way until 8,800 meter mountain, the highest mountain in the world, you have moraine section at the bottom of a mountain, which are the landslide regions, but they're all chipped rocks. These rocks are very, very tiny, but they keep moving every single day. These rocks which are falling away, and these rocks get collected, accumulated in the bottom, and then they just move with the glacier. So these rocky sections are difficult to maneuver. So this section is the section where we don't wear a crampon. The ice gray is not worn. So we trek by wearing a mountain boot, because it's still very cold. We're starting in the middle of the night, right? So we trek wearing a mountain boot all the way until the section where we call it a crampon point. What is a crampon point? The point where we wear a crampon, the actual 2 inches or 1.5 inch, or 3-4 centimeters of thick MS steel or stainless steel extension on top of a boot, which will punch into the snow, ice, and glacier of a mountain. So what does it do? You punch into it, and then it gets clinged down to the mountain. So that is called a crampon, with the mountaineering boot, which is as 1.5 inch thick everywhere across, right? So you have a mountain boot, and then you have a crampon which you wear at the crampon point. The rocky section is over, and you start getting the snowy section or the ice section or the glacier section where you wear the crampon. So we spend some time, we wear the crampon, and then we start uh, you know climbing the mountain wearing the semi-technical gear, which is a crampon. So this might be at around 3 hours of climb. In Kangatse 2, it takes you 2.5 hours to go to the crampon point, which is basically, I start at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock. I will be reaching the crampon point by, let us say, maximum 3 hours, which is basically on 2 o'clock in the middle of the night, or sometimes 2.5 hours, 3.5 hours, which is 2:30 to 3 o'clock. Half an hour buffer for me, because there are a few people who want to go to take rest and etc. things. So 3 o'clock, I'm at the crampon point. I wear my crampon and I start climbing the mountain using my crampons. I punch left, right, left, right. It's all 1, 2, 1, 2. If people who know drill, you understand it. People who don't know drill, it's one step at a time. All of us go. So let us say I may be quick. Somebody ahead of me will be slow. Behind me is be more quicker than me. All of us, however you are, you'll be wasting your energy if you do anything apart from what the group is doing. So as a group, we go together, one step at a time. So we go slow and steady, but then not taking a lot of rest, because taking a lot of rest beyond this altitude will make your entire core temperature go down. So we make sure that we're not taking a lot of rest also. We're not even going very fast as well. So slow and steady. By around sunrise time, we reach the pseudo summit. Any part of a mountain is this, that because we're climbing thousand plus meters within what do you say, 6 to 7 hours. What happens is, you feel like this is the summit, but the moment you go to that point, you see another summit. The moment you finish another summit, you feel, oh, there's another summit beyond it. In fact, Kangetse will test you that. And reason why I told you Kangetse is one of those mountains which will test your endurance to the core, plus your mental fitness to the core. Psychologically, you'll be troubled saying that, can I do it? Should I give up? In fact, when I did it for the first time, probably 3 years back or 4 years back, I gave up at least 20 times. I felt I'm even, and mind it, I can do 20 kilometers without any break. I can run half a marathon myself. But when I did Kanget, I just, and plus I've been to multiple Himalayan treks, and all the difficult Himalayan treks. And when I did Kanget, I didn't have time to prepare myself. I don't have any time to prepare any to run marathon or to do my time or whatever it is. I'm one of the part of the operations. I have to simply go lead the team. So I'm there. So the moment I was there climbing the mountain, right, I left at least, I would say, probably 10 to 15 times. I told 20 times probably up to that. I thought, should I really do this? It's so difficult. But the moment you overcome the challenge, right? So nowadays people, what do you call that? I'm complacent on not doing. Today's a weekend. I can watch IPL. But then, really thankful all of you are here watching us or listening to us, because spending the time to understand what human beings can do beyond whatever their capabilities is something very difficult, right? And then planning it, you may do it, you may not do it, but at least listening to it and trying to plan it is really really great. I can be complacent. I can simply sit in home, probably cook or go to outdoors, or I don't know, spend my evening somewhere outdoors or watch IPL, right? But then planning my weekend for a mountain is something really really appreciate. Thanks to all of you for being a part of us. Same thing there also. I can always be like, boss, why should I do it? I can come back. You will feel that 100 times more intense than being lazy sitting on a weekend in home. And you overcoming that, right, is what human beings biggest talent, which lies inside every single person of us, which is basically you can actually do that mountain. So you can go climb, and yeah, so that is the day when you, if you can just overcome that sleep and everything, you can go climb that mountain, you go touch the summit, and then you come back on the same day back. And that is the day 8 of your entire itinerary, and then you are there by around afternoon, where you have packed breakfast with you, where you have on top of the mountain. By lunchtime you're back in the, sometimes you come back late in the evening, but early evening, which is around 2 o'clock 3 o'clock in the evening. And then you are there in the campsite, and then you have your what do you say, breakfast, your lunch there very late, and then you have a congratulatory dinner in that particular night. In case weather goes bad on one of the days, we spend one more night and you attempt the same thing on the day 9. So that is why it says, day 7 to day 9, which we try to attempt submitting, right? In fact, if we don't submit, we do it on day 9. If we submit on day 8, the itinerary follows, which is next day crossing the small ridge between Kangetse base camp into Nimaling campsite, and then crossing a very big pass. In Tibetan language, La means a pass, Ri means a mountain. For people who want to understand, I'm typing this Tibetan. La means a pass and Ri means a mountain in Tibetan. So Kongmaru La means Kongmaru Pass. It's a very famous and very good pass. People who don't climb Kangetse also, when you do Markha Valley, you can cross the Kongmaru Pass. You have to cross the Kongmaru Pass and come to Chokdo. So what you do, you cross, you climb up, you get down to 4,800 meters from the ridge from Kangetse base camp. You get down, and then you again have to climb up to Kongmarula Pass, which is 5,200 meters. You see the one final time, say goodbye to the mountain which you climbed, and you get down towards Chokdo. And this is one of those difficult days, which is difficult on the knees, because you spend 16 kilometers to get down all the way until Chokdo, and from 5,200 to 3,800 meters. It is in fact 3,850 or something meters around that altitude, which should be around, I would say 1,350 meters of descent in one single day. That's very huge. And it goes hard on your knees, and then by the time you're there at Chokdo, you finally come to the civilization of finding a road, and then you travel from Chokdo all the way until Leh, which takes you around 3 to 4 hours, which is usually the the ninth day of your entire itinerary. And then you're there in Leh for the ninth night. We have one celebratory dinner for that particular night, and then we say goodbye to people, and then we are out of Leh the next day, which is the 10th day. So this mountain can be done in 9 nights and 10 days. If at all you use a buffer night, you do it in 10 nights and 11 days. So this is the entire itinerary from Leh back until Leh. Sorry, it took some time, but I wanted to explain all the nuances of the itinerary. I hope you got an idea of it. Let's go to the next part of it. Arsha, is it possible? Yeah. Who can do Kang? For people who are already fit, for them to understand that are they already fit, we have a program actually, which I'll tell you after the end of this. People who are not sure, boss, I'm really fit. So, so what you do when you register for Kang 2? So what we suggest people, we suggest people to go out and do a 5 kilometer mountain. Sorry, a run or a walk. You run, you crawl, you walk, whatever it is. You have to complete 5 kilometers by your own self without any supplemental help in 35 minutes. That is one. So make sure you do 35, 5 kilometers in 35 minutes. That is number one. Once you are able to do that, we'll give you a simple chart of our trekking chart only, nothing extraordinary. We give a chart and we tell people to prepare that for 100 or 120 days. 100 days is sufficient, but we give 120 days considering you have holidays, you take rest days, you take, my one of those days where I don't want to work and everything, right? So that is 120 days together. Once you complete that, right? So this has a lot of things. You can see that this exercise sheet has your upper body workout, your core workout, which is basically your ability to work out with less amount of oxygen. You also have your complete endurance workout, which is basically you doing aerobic fitness, you doing cycling, you doing swimming and all those things. And your lower body workout, the biggest area of your entire body, is trying to make sure your entire limbs are going to be fit, fine, and sound as a the best version of yourself being on the mountain, right, for the next 100 days. So that is basically your lower half. And then probably some weights. Why weights? Because you have to lift a bag. When people do train for trekking, right, they understand that they don't wear a bag and train. When they come on a trek, they wear a bag suddenly, and they suddenly feel, boss, I did a train for this. Suddenly it becomes difficult. When you do a Kangetse mountain, it absolutely requires you to wear a bag. So we suggest people to also train little weights, because they can put on bag also and train all these things. That is one option. Second option, lift weights also and then do it. So this is one of the rough preparation for yourself for the 100 days. Once you finish that, right? So we suggest people to share all of your numbers of your exercises, your runs, your preparation with us. Once you share it with us, we'll go through the entire thing and then we'll help you. Should we do any change? This is not, after 4 months, this in between 4 months, probably, monthly ones or 15 days ones. And then we'll probably suggest you, do this, do that. And for the next 4 months, we help you out. So once you prepare for that 4 months, right, then I think, you'll be able to be summit ready for Kangit 2. For people who are like, boss, no, I have not achieved it for this time. uh, there are a lot of people who are asking us, we want to do Kangetse. We don't take them simply as it is, because already we have commercial companies in India who are like, they'll take you just like that when you pay them money. We are not one of those companies. We don't want to take you at all. We want you to be absolutely sure. We want you to make sure that you're fit enough. We want you to enjoy. We want you to earn that summit. And then for that, we'll simply not take that money and then take you to Kangetse. So what we do, we tell you to do the next season. Simple as that. If you're not fit, probably in between do another high altitude climb. Simple as that. And we help you to again be in touch with you for 15 days or 30 days to let you know, to check on you, to see, do another 100 days of climb or preparation to for your climb, and then we help you out. Then you are fit for mountain, which is basically again you doing the 5 kilometers in 30 minutes. So the moment you do 5 kilometers in 30 minutes, then the moment your breathing is right, the moment your exercises are right with regards to timing, we give a fitness preparation guide, and the certain you are ready. For people who cannot do it, right? In layman terms, you can see over here it says do 5 kilometers in 35 minutes. That is one. Cycling 10 kilometers in 40 minutes. That is two. Or do swimming in 1 kilometer, 1 kilometer swim in 40 minutes, or stair climbs of 50 floors in up and down of 10 floors 5 times. in 30 minutes. For people who don't have 50 floors, right? We can do multiple times our own 3 floors into 30 times. We can do that. So once you do that, we wanted to also do a 5,000-meter mountain. Combine these both things and give your 100 days. We'll make sure that we'll make you climb Kang Yatse II. That is the eligibility what we're expecting out of people. If at all you are stuck somewhere in between all of these things, you're busy, you have work, boss, I have corporate work, I can't plan all these things, I'll try, if it happens, if not, I'm not sure, but you let me know, can I climb? We have something great, which is basically mountain fitness assessment program. We have teamed up with Granimals. They are sports rehabilitation people who assist you with regards to assessing your fitness of your core and all these things, and they let you know how fit you are, right? If you have an injury, or if you feel there's a slight pain with regards to your joints, you feel your slight pain with regards to your muscles, irrespective of you climb a mountain or not, try Granimals. Arsha, can you please show the next slide? Great. So for people who want to do a trek or a mountain or any expedition with TrekNomads, we are giving you an opportunity to go try mountain fitness assessment program. If you are part of this webinar or this video call today, we'll help you out by getting a slot for you. Just fill that form. After this webinar, you'll get a link for where you can go register yourself and get yourself fitness assisted. Get yourself assessment with regards to your fitness, and you will get that fitness assessment certifying how fit you are climbing the mountain. Are you ready to climb the mountain or not? What is your core areas where you can improve on, and how do you improve on, and what are the fitness exercises you require? If at all you have an injury, what and all physiotherapy exercises you can take. If you want any packages, they sell a separate package altogether. You're free to choose their packages, and we highly recommend taking this assessment program. At least, even if you don't take the package, please take this program. You'll understand what kind of fitness level all of you are at. That is our humble request. And also get a report card of how fit you are, and all the exercises what you have to get, and the targeted training of your group of muscles and stuff what you require for you to be mountain fit. So that is mountain fitness assessment program. Next slide, please, Arsha. These are all the beautiful pictures of our Kang Yatse. Oh, no, no, no. I'm really sorry. They send you a bill just because, oh, probably they send you invoice saying that it's 599. Please don't worry. Fill it and attend the session. They won't charge you. If at all they charge you, you can take my name. I'll speak to the founder of Granimals. Please get yourself assessed, because I remember I think Vicky ji doing Valley of Flowers with us, right? So go ahead. If you want to do, I think I remember you trying to take your cousin to Sandakpur and follow it also, which didn't happen. But now that you're trying to do a mountain, please get yourself assessed, and then we'll help you out. These are all the pictures over here. Oh, yes, definitely. Our Valley of Flowers will never be complete without a Hemkund, right? You doing 4,160 is in itself a difficult trek altogether. So the next thing you should do is a challenging trek. Do a base camp and then do a Kang Yatse. That's what I would suggest for you. If you've already been to Goshala or any base camp treks without us, with somebody else, very great. Give us a certificate. We'll help you out in preparing you for Kang Yatse too, right? So coming down to the pictures you can see here, so you can see all the montages of our Kang Yatse II trek. Beautiful views. The first two pictures which are there over here on the topmost, first and second, are the ones which we're climbing, and the second one is the one when we're about to reach the base camp. Other three in the middle are when we're about to reach base camp, and you can see the one in the bottommost half middle is something where you display all the gear for you to understand. You can see you have helmets, you have ropes, you have ice axes, all the technical gear which is required for you to prepare. And this is a training day for you. This is how it looks like. And yeah, pretty much these are all the pictures of Kang Yatse II. Oh, great! You will do May ABC, definitely. please contact and we'll help you out. And this is our final group when we went and did Kang Yatse II the last time. So these are the pictures. Next image, Arsha, please. Arsha, please post the next image. Really sorry for the long webinar. I thought 40-50 minutes, but it took 1 hour or 10 minutes or so. Anybody who has questions or queries, please feel free. Turn on your cameras, turn on your microphones. Arsha, please enable them to do the same, and we would be happy to chat with you. And even before we start that, I would like to thank each and every one of you who spent your valuable evening with us. Uh, I don't know how much of knowledge I could have able to share with you, but I hope it has been a help, even if it's 0.1% of help in motivating you to be on a mountain. I really feel I will definitely feel I did some good work today. And yeah, you're all welcome to attempt a 6,000 meter, and we'll help you to make sure that all of you will climb mountains. Anybody can and everybody can climb, and then we'll be here for that. Great. So Mr. Dilip has asked, join late in the webinar. When is the proposed trek and approximate cost? Thanks. Okay. So the approximate time. Oh, nice. Mr. Dilip, I think. Oh, yeah, I can imagine. You did our EBC and you planned with Mr. Hemant and all these people, if I'm not wrong. Great. So yes, so you can attempt Kang Yatse II mountain around June, July, August, all the way until September as well. And June, end of June, based on the glacier, we suggest people to attempt, but usually July, August, and September. First week of September, second week of September maximum. So this is the time frame for you. Approximate cost for you to do Kang Yatse II is around 75,000 rupees. It's cheaper than Everest Base Camp plus GST. For people who don't know, to do a 6,250 to 6,500 meter mountain out in the world, when I say out in the world, in Himalayas, or let us say in Kazakhstan, or all these places which are the Kyrgyzstan and all those places, right? It you end up spending 2 lakhs or something and above. This is one of the cheapest bet. If you're fit, you can always try and do this mountain. This is one of the economical, I will not say cheapest, economical bet for people who want to do high altitude climbs across the world. You have something which is 6,250 to 6,500 meters just in our backyard. I would if I knew this back in my day, probably 10 5-6 years back, I would have already been doing 8,000 meters by now. I knew it very late. In fact, I'm a newbie myself, but then I knew it very, since I came to the job, I learned everything very quick, so I had this very short time to understand myself. So I'm at a stage right now where I can do 7,000, in fact 8,000 right now. But then I'm taking my own slow phases to do that. It is economical. It is in fact in our own backyard. Even if you can't do it, don't worry, attempt it, because it's equal to a trek. If you can't do Kang Yatse, you will do a Markha Valley trek minimum, because Kang Yatse is coupled with a Markha Valley trek. You will see one of the wilder and the most remote areas of India doing Markha Valley, going to the base of Kang Yatse, and then coming out of it. Great. Guys, simple. Even if you are probably trying to do it, attempt it. I would, you know, personally, I'll reach out to each of you whoever is, saying yes to this answer today. And yeah, even if you can't do
Okay.
it, even if you're in the process of doing it, it'll be great to connect with you. Oh, sorry, somebody is connecting. Yeah, please tell me.
Hi, Hemant. Thank you for all this. I did go through your details about keeping ourselves fit. I'm confident of working towards it. There is one thing which I lack confidence is carrying weight on my back. How much weight we will have to carry on our back? Uh, so that is one concern I have, and I need to train myself for that and how to do that.
Great. Okay. The easiest way is, very simple. So when I say very simple, it's like, when you do 6,000 meter mountain, to do 6,000 meter mountain, you have to plan for a 5,000 meter. When you plan for a 5,000, plan for a 4,000. You have already been to 4,000 meters right now with weight on your back, right? What do you mean by weight on your back? You're going to have water, packed lunch, and probably your probably documents, valuables, and all these things, right? On a mountain, you don't need a valuable. You keep everything in the base camp and go. So you will definitely have water. You're definitely going to have your food. You're going to have probably your protein or your nutrition bites. So right away from today, what is required is you doing any kind of exercises which is required with regards to trek, wearing a backpack, right? So the moment you touch 5 kilometers in 35 minutes, I would say do that first. The first thing first, as a starter, right? I would say do a run, walk or crawl. If you can't do run, or you can't do any of this, I can't finish 5 kilometers in 35 minutes. What is the easiest simulation of you doing a 6,000 meter mountain? That is you going to climb the mountain. So basically staircase, right? So basically what you do, you will be going from 0 to 6,000 meters, so which is basically 5,000 meters, 6,000 meters. So I would say do attempt staircases first, and then slowly get into your staircases and give me your number with regards to how many staircases you did. 50 floors I needed for sure, but how long did you take to do that 50 floors? And then give me a number. Then we'll get on a one-on-one call with you. Then we'll get an assessment for you. Then we will help you out for the next 100 days to make you fit for climbing the Kang Yatse II. If we can't do it this year, we'll make sure that we'll make you climb the next year, because you'll have another 6 months left. So that is, yeah, plain single
Yes.
word. But for people who are like in between, like, boss, I'm preparing myself already, assess me and everything. Yes, we can assess you and everything, we can help you out. But short thing, in a very simple manner, wear your bag after 4,000 meters for every single trek you do, every single training
So,
you do. Put a
this
5 kg of
bag,
weight
what you
into it.
Yeah. See, this bag, what you say, basic things like water and food, I have carried. But if you say that 6 kg of
Yes,
backpack with all that clothing and, all that stuff, that we need to carry with us also, right? That
yes.
is what
So
I need
same
to
thing what
train
you carried in
myself.
the Himalayan trek.
Ha.
Exactly. So when I say wear a backpack, I'm not saying just wear a backpack empty. So remember that you carry food, you carry 2 liters of water, which is equal to 2 kgs of water. You always carry a fleece jacket, a down jacket, and a poncho, which comes up to 5 kgs. On top of this, in a 4,000 meters, if I carry 5 kgs, it is completely okay for me to do that. It will be difficult probably. But if I do the same 5 kgs or 4 kgs in 6,000 meters, it is two times the weight. In short, if a lot of people who come back to me and ask, boss, I want to, do train for Himalayas for the first time, what do you want to do? I tell, wear a backpack and do it. And I tell them,
Okay.
whatever you do, wearing a backpack in the, in your planes. When I say planes, let us say I'm in Mumbai or I'm in Bangalore, right? Let us say if I do 15 kilometers of, training for one single day, in, let us say, 15 kilometers of walk in 3 hours, that is equal to you doing 1 kilometers of 5 kilometers of walk in 1 hour. 1:3 ratio. So whatever you climb, if I climb 5 kilometers here in the plane, that is equal to me doing that only in 1:3 ratio in the Himalayas. It is going to be so difficult. So train yourself so much. In fact, there's this very famous image of, I think I forgot the name. There's this very famous hero called Hercules in Greek. In fact, not many people know Hercules was a very fat guy. The god gave him a challenge. You want to be, he gives him a wish actually. He gives him a wish saying that, you want to be rich or you want to be the best form of yourself in the entire world. He says, I want to be the best form of, it's just like that. He simply chooses that. And then you have this famous image of, a fat person chiseling himself or, hitting on a rock and then him becoming fit. So why I mentioned about this is because all of us, you may see a person who six pack abs, you may see a person who doing really gymnastic stuff. Don't even compare yourself with them. Every one of us have our own face. Every one of us have our own, way of getting fit. you can do it in the next 150 to 200 days. All you need is the 200 days, which is probably what, as usual, I tell all of our colleagues and all of our trekkers, we have how many days left in the earth? I'm already 40, I mean 35 to 40, so I'm considering myself, biologically I'm lesser, probably, I'm pushing 40, but I only have 10 years left for myself. Probably people who are already in their 50s, probably they have another 5 years left, which means we only have only counted number of weekends for us. Let's see the best version of ourselves. You can actually do it in 100 days, 150 days. You may earn money, you may do for build a good fortune for your next generation, but the only thing that makes validity and which validates yourself is you doing something renowned, and something which you can feel great about yourself, which is probably doing what the human body can do, which is being in the fittest possibility of you can do, and then doing something which is really really something a human being can break boundaries and do. And knowing all the people, all of you who did Valley of Floods, right, it's not easy feat. 4,160 feet is like really really great, man. It's like, frankly speaking, my mom is around 55 60 years. I tell her, go to the park. She's like, I know it's difficult. She'll go on a walk for 2 kilometers and come back. She's around 50 years. But when I force her to do it, she's like, no, it's like difficult for me and stuff like that. I see a lot of our trekkers who are 55 or 50 and above or 45 and above also, who are like, my probably, 5 10 years beyond me. And then they doing Valley of Flowers. Like, I feel really, really, not many people know, but it's not about me simply telling them, for the sake of telling. I really appreciate people working out on that. And I really, I'm in awe when I see people, who are coming out on the mountains. That way, I'll be there. If any of you want to climb a 6,000-meter mountain, and we'll be, powered up like anything, we will assist you one on one. We'll make it happen. So in making it very short, wearing a bag, one step at a time. You did 4,000 meter, wear a bag and then train for 4,000 meter. You do a 5,000 meter, wearing a bag, right? And then we'll help you out for 6,000 meter by giving a different set of targets for you. We'll be there for at every point of your journey to make sure you can do it. But at least for that, go one step at a time. Finish 4,000, do a 5,000. After 5,000, then we'll get to 6,000 meter.
Okay, Hemant,
Sorry
can
if
I
You
it's wrong,
talk?
but yeah, pretty much that.
This is Dilip. Can I talk?
Oh, please, please, please. Anybody? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, yes,
bro.
sir. Dilip,
See,
sir, please tell me.
yeah, this whether climbing or not climbing, I do have a regimen. Say, like
Yes.
I swim 2.5 kilometers
Yes.
in 50 minutes every day morning. Okay. Then evening it is
Perfect.
60 floors with 12 kilos of weight. I wear a vest and, weights on hand and on the ankle. Now, the only part what I see is this running
Perfect.
because I
Perfect.
stopped running long back. I'm running 63. My age is 63. So is running mandatory that 5K in 30 kilometers, or what do you say about my fitness as such? I know you have asked for that MAFP. That could happen anytime later. What is your general intake
Yes,
with
yes,
this
sir.
running? One has to
Sir,
complete that.
sir, I would, yes, I would suggest you to take MFAP first, because
Okay.
free, you'll understand about yourself right away. Point one.
Hmm.
So coming down to when we said fitness, right? We have running, we have cycling, we have swimming, and then we have state climb. All four of them are not, even though we mentioned or in between, right? Frankly speaking, running will give you endurance. So is your stair
Okay.
climbing. These two things,
Stair climbing
which
I'm
will
doing
simulate
on
a
a regular
mountain.
basis. Yeah.
Good, sir. Good, sir. Good. Very good. So that means you have the endurance. Probably.
Okay.
See, again, please don't take me wrong. For example, when I did my first time Himalayan trek for Kedarkanta, I felt very scared when I go to the base camp. It is a psychological problem. I didn't realize later that I am running 5 kilometers in 24 minutes. That's a very good number. For my age,
Okay.
when I was around, I think 30 at that point of time, it's a very good number. Doing 24 minutes, 5 kilometers, it's like marathon people doing that. But I was scared. I was thinking, am I fit? Am I fit or not? In fact, I was so scared. I was the last person to reach the base camp. Like, I'm telling my own personal story with you. Later, when I come back and saw, when I climbed Kedarkanta and came back, I felt, this mountain is like very easy for me. Why did I get scared? So probably what I thought, no, like me being, I'm from South India, I'm from Bangalore. I thought, I'm going to the mountain for the first time, and Kedarkanta is like a very big mountain. 3630, 3400 meters or 600 meters approximately. And I have seen highest is 1900 meters in my life, entire life. Until my 29 years, the highest I've been is 1900 meters. First time I'm doing 3600. So I got scared. People telling me, all my friends were like sophisticated, like trekkers and everything, and runners and all these people. But what I realized at that point of time is it is all mental. These guys, the moment you say trek, they will go to Decathlon, they will buy for 50,000 to 1 lakh rupees. They want to buy sophisticated gear, XYZ, they want to go to gym, they want to have a personal trainer, all these things. But me being the lower middle class, I the only thing I know is, boss, you have limbs, you have to walk. You have what is that, you have one single chance at life to become fit and then get 8 packs. I saw a film and then I want to have 6 packs. It's actually good. Whatever my lifestyle is actually very good actually. But the moment I spoke to my friends, it kind of confused me. So I got scared going to Kedarkanta. But after that, sir, I'm telling you, remember I met you probably only once in Kathmandu. I came back from a trek. I met you and Hemant and Pratik and all these people. So
Yeah,
by
yeah, you're
then
right. You're right.
I completed 40 45 trails of Himalayas without listening to any Tom, Dick and Harry. Why? Because after me doing first Himalayan trek, what I realized was Himalayan trek is 40% fitness and 60% mental strength or psychological fitness for yourself. So this is the first statement I would like to make. Second, now all the fitnesses what we have, running and climbing the stairs is our endurance. So if you're doing staircases, because obviously I can't ask 60-year-old person or 70-year-old person to climb stairs. This year our oldest person to do Everest base camp is 71-year-old, so year old. Our youngest person to do Everest base camp, she finished yesterday. 9-year-old kid who turned 10 years on the route. So I can't ask these people to run 5 kilometers because they will not have commitment. Either the 10-year-old kid will not have commitment to run 5 kilometers. The 51-year or 70-year-old person will not have the fitness to, arthritis, like a lot of things, a lot of medical conditions. So the only easiest thing for me, what I can ask him, sir, slow and steady to mount, staircases. If you can do staircases, you can rule out the running of 5 kilometers in 35 minutes. Don't consider it. The other two
Right.
things, which are cycling for 10 kilometers in 40 minutes, that's a little wrong. Really sorry for everybody. We wanted to cycle 30, 10 kilometers in 30 minutes, which all of you can do. In fact, all of you did an attempt, all the Himalayan treks, you can always do it, right? So people who can do one run of 5 kilometers in 30 minutes, and or people who can do 50 floors in 30 minutes. This is the first criteria. That means you have the endurance to do it. That is one. Second, people who can do 10 kilometers of cycling in 30 minutes. Though you all have the aerobic fitness, which is, what is aerobic fitness? When you go on a trek, your body is flimsy, you get tired, you want to walk uneven. In aerobics, what you do? You dance. You are very uneven with regards to your fitnesses. I mean, with your steps, with your exercises and everything. Even if it's uneven, you should have the capacity to understand. Your body is not in your control, so your body is flimsy, and still you should have the mental strength to think, okay, boss, I have to walk. That is your aerobic fitness. Having the lowest amount of endurance, having the lowest amount of oxygen, and still able to perform is aerobic fitness. So your cycling of that 10 kilometers in 30 minutes should fulfill that. Third, 1 kilometer in 30 minutes. That is also actually very fair amount. Actually, it's not very difficult. A lot of people can do. People who don't know swimming will feel difficult. People who know swimming, people like you can do 2 kilometers in 40 minutes actually. So you are like, we can't compare you to people who don't know swimming, right? So the reason why we tell 1 kilometer, 10, whatever, 1 kilometer in 30 minutes is basically because we want them to hold the breath. They should have the capacity to hold the breath going underwater and coming out. Either, freestyle or butterfly or whatever it is, right? So the idea is very simple. Three things what people need to understand: endurance, aerobic fitness, breath work. If we can work on these three things for the next 100 or 120 days, as I told you, every single one of you, I'll call each of you to understand how is your fitness, and I will let you know personally, sir, you can do it, you can't do it, and I will suggest you to do another trek before you can come on a Kang Yatse II mountain. In fact, I would like to go with you guys to go on a Kang Yatse II mountain, take all of you together. If all four of you or five of you, six of you, I think six of you are there on the meeting right now, we'll be there on the top. So the idea is very simple. We want to enable you. So that is the plan. One, endurance, which is basically your running or your staircase. Staircase is a simulation of you walking up, right? Second, your breath work, which is your swimming. And third is your aerobic fitness, which is basically your cycling. Simple as that, sir. I hope that answers you.
Yeah, fine. Fantastic. I got the answers because the rest, as mentioned, I'm doing it. Now, the third thing, how about a diet package?
Sir, crazy. Point one, stick to what your home is. Probably let your home know that you need more protein. So Indian diet is the most least amount of protein diet in the world. Usually, see, I'll tell about myself. I'm a South Indian. My home, Sunday means non-veg. Rest all the days we are like, one or the other God is there. We don't touch food. I have a friend who's a Muslim or a Christian who's like, basically Sunday means non-veg. Other days means no non-veg. That's reverse. I have a Muslim who eats, who doesn't eat non-veg on Friday, but other days they'll eat non-veg. But then everything is very, very skewed. Ideal thing is you eat veg, you eat non-veg, you are a vegan, you're a non-vegan, everything is welcome. Plan yourself in a diet which is complete, which has not just your diet with regards to your what do you say, micronutrient, vitamins and your calories and your, see, people only compare two things nowadays. How much how much calories am I eating? Reduce it. Second, have good protein. That is very wrong. People don't speak about micronutrients at all. What about magnesium? What about vitamins? What about vitamins A all the way until K? What about vitamin B12? All these things in between. Nobody knows about this. So I would suggest people to spend some time. So what I would say is, probably don't take supplements for the sake of taking supplements. Irrespective of whatever we are doing at this point of time in life, we may say, South Indians may say my idli is better because it's fermented. North Indians will say no, my roti naan is better for XYZ reasons. Whatever it is, whatever food habits you have, get to a complete, if I'm not wrong, all of our average trekkers are around 35 minimum, all the way until 60 years. I would recommend everybody, please fix your, your entire chart first. For example, I will eat 2 meals per day. I am not eating my meal on the breakfast. When I break fast, it's around 11, 12 o'clock in the afternoon. But when I eat my breakfast, it is having of the entire, organic food. It might be non-veg, it may not be non-veg. Not putting color into the non-veg, but anyways, protein. I take some good amount of protein. Along with that, I'll also take fruits, vegetables, and everything, which is all the colors. Then probably Indians, especially we have vitamin B12 deficiency. We have vitamin, I think, anything which is related to sun, right? Vitamin C deficiency, also vitamin D, also we have deficiency. So I try to work on that, by taking good amount of, fish oil or omega 3 acid. So which is basically, I can't be vegetarian in those things. So except that I'm there because out of the 12 months, I'm there 6 months on a mountain. If I have to come and preach you about mountaineering, I have to be myself fit first. I have to prove myself first. So that way, I will tell people to have a very good diet and very good fitness. And third, probably good sleep. So these three things, sir. So I think at knowing you, I think you are retired, you are there in home, you're consulting, that secondary thing. I will tell, enjoy your life. Three things: have good food with good nutrition. Second, good sleep. Third, spend, the moment you don't work on your body, you become idle. Idle's mind is a devil's workshop, they say. So just work until the day. Probably, I would like to, pray. I would like to do that for until I probably tomorrow morning I'm gonna die. I'm gonna make sure that I'm gonna work out today. That's my preaching stuff. What I would do, people. I will do that. So looking at you, you were already fit when I saw you. So I will say, please continue doing that. So work on nutrition. Work on probably doing at least 30 minutes of exercises. All of us will speak about nutrition, sir. None of us will speak about one main thing in our life. A human body requires 8 hours of sleep, 30 minutes of workout, which sweats you per day, and then another, uh, entire 2 times of nutrition, which gives you all the micronutrients for yourself. These three things, even though we're educated, we're in big positions, we are doing money, we are earning XYZ things, we are probably influential, we don't follow it. We unfortunately we end up realizing it very late in life. The closer we are, thanks to being a mountaineer, you can do that very early. So I think you can do that. Three things: good nutrition with regards to your food, complete nutrition. When I say good nutrition, complete nutrition. Second, this. Oh please, Vicky ma'am. Yes, yes, yes. We'll connect again. Good nutrition. Second, good sleep. Third is, uh, yeah, she left. So three basic things what I told you. So fitness, food, and sleep. I think that should be good. So 120 days, you give your time to me. I'll make sure I'll make you a Kang Yatse II person, because I saw this year Elbrus 71-year-old guy doing Elbrus, which is twice difficult than Kang Yatse. Technical mountain actually for half of the time, and I think we can do really Kang Yatse II aram se anytime, sir. Apart from Dilip sir, anybody else? Purnima Singh, SP. Really sorry, I didn't get other people's names. Guys, feel free to unmute yourself and ask any kind of questions you have. If none of you have any questions, then yeah, we can call it a night. And yeah, let's see how the IPL goes today. Okay, so since I didn't get any reply from anybody, I would like to thank everybody from TrekNomads and for spending your valuable time for nearly 2 hours with us. We wish all of you can attempt a 6,000-meter mountain. And yeah, any of you have any questions, you can always message us on our number. I'm going to post my number over here, or any of our social media platforms, or any of our WhatsApp. You're always free to message us, and we're very glad. Even if 5 people come on a mountain, climbing mountain, we're happy about it. Have a good evening, guys. Yeah, great.